Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about date and time functions in the DAX world. So totally we have a 24 date and time functions, which will help you to convert your dates into different format. Along with that, we also have the time intelligence functions. Totally we have 35 time intelligence functions. Those time intelligence functions will help you to bring the different date values. So the time intelligence functions we're going to talk about in the next session, but for now we're going to discuss only the 24 date and time functions. Let's get into the details. Date and time functions, we separated 24 functions into two groups. One is the date functions group, other one is the time function group. So here is the tool list. Now let's get into the date functions first. Here we have calendar auto, date difference, date value, day, e-date, month, network days, quarter, and today, UTC today, weekday, week number, year, and year fraction. So some reasons the quarter function is not working in the DAX. Probably I'll give a syntax on quarter, but I'm not able to reproduce the examples. Maybe we can try with DAX Studio how this quarter is working, right? So now let's get into the date functions one by one with specific examples. The first one is the calendar. Calendar is it's just like a work like a between clause in MS SQL Server. What it will does, it will fetch the list of dates between the start and end date. And here is the syntax where we pass the two parameters to this function. One is the start date, other one is the end date. Now we can see here the scenario. I'm trying to fetch my transaction dates from my dim time, where calendar is I passed the 2021 January 1st and to 2021 December 31st. Now it will bring the dates. Now if I execute this, it will bring the dates between transaction dates between the specified start date and end date. So I can see here in the bottom results, it fetches the requested results. Right, so okay, here we have a transaction date is here, and if we can sort the results by order by transaction date, right? So now execute this again. So now this time we get the results in proper sorting format. It started from January 1st 2021 and it ends on 31st December 2021. And you can also use this calendar function along with your regular other functions like summarize columns and summarize and select columns. Now in here I mentioned the I try to use calendar function within the summarize columns function. Let me execute those results, and you can see here I got my sales, total sales information between the two dates. You can see here, since I have the data only from 2020 and 21, I got only the 2 years data. Now if I change this to, let me change this to 21. Now this time we'll get only the data for 2021 for 4 quarters. Okay, so this is how you can use the calendar year, and also you can parameterize your dates, whatever the start date and end date, by using the variable, the tags. And if I execute here, so what I'm doing here, I'm taking the min date from the fact sales transaction date and max date from the fact sales transaction date, and those two values I'm storing into start and end date and passing them as my parameters to the calendar function. Now it brings only the sales information, whatever we fetch the min and max dates from the fact sales. Now if I execute this, then you get the sales information. This is the sales information for the mentioned years. Okay, so now moving on, next one is the calendar auto. Returns a table with a single column named as a date, and that contains the contiguous set of dates. The range of dates is calculated automatically based on data in the model. And the syntax of the calendar auto is it takes the physical year end month, one parameter, so where you can mention your physical year end month, and based on that end month it will start the records, and it will give the it will take the max records from the data model. So we'll go into the details how this fiscal year on my end month parameter works for the calendar auto. So the other default behavior is it will take the earliest and latest dates from the model. And if at all you have any calculated date columns or calculated date tables, it won't consider those. It will take only the base time and I mean time dimension data. In case if the model does not have any data time dimension or date time values, it will return the value. Let's get into the example. So here what I'm doing, I'm trying to fetch the max value from the my transaction date, which is 31st December 2030, and what is the minimum value based on my transaction date. We'll get it. So it's January 1st, 2020 is the my minimum date. Now if I simply use my calendar auto to fetch the list of dates, you can see here. So it fetches the data from 1st of January 2022 till 31st, yeah, 31st December 2030. So those are our dates are available within our time dimension. Now if I execute the same thing with physical year end, um, I use the physical year end month parameter within the calendar auto. Now it will take the record. So now if you see here, the transaction date is actually the minimum transaction date is 1st of January, right? So that particular year, so whatever we have here, it will the physical year starts in between the somewhere, right, either May or June, right? So now since I mentioned the physical year and month parameter, now what it will happen, it will take the information from the dates, which is start from the June 1st, and it will end on the uh, 31st May in 2031. So these are the default business intelligence dates that it's bringing. Now if I change this fiscal year and month parameter from 5 to 3, now what will happen, we'll get the data from 1st of April 2019 to till March of the 31st. So that's how it will take the physical year end month. Okay, so whatever the physical year that we have, right? So 2020, if you take it, the physical year starts in somewhere, right? Usually you will have two types of the time period, right? One is the calendar year, other one is the physical year. So calendar year, it will follow from January to December. Physical year, it will start from your start based on the desired month. Usually the physical year defined by the organization. Some organizations, their physical year start from the February. Some organization, their physical year starts in the April, right? So now here for 2020, the physical year starts in mid of somewhere in the 2019, right? So now the month, the physical year end month, I passed it. So third is my month, right? So now for 2020, the fiscal year, whatever the fiscal year end month starts from the April, because whatever the parameter that we passed here, it will excludes from the starting date, but includes the same month in the end date, whatever the max values that we have, right? So it will include the March in the max value, but when it start from the minimum value, it excludes the March month from the 2019. So now you can also use this calendar auto within your other functions like summarize columns. Now it will here what it will do now this time, it will take the reference of your fact sales, whatever the date that you have in your fact sales, and based on that it fetch the sales information from Q1 2022 till Q4 2030. Right. So now the calendar auto is not going to use the business intelligence inside. You will have inbuilt business intelligence time, right? It's not going to use that. Instead of that, it will use the date from the fact sales. Based on that, it will fetch the data. Now, if I change this to calendar auto 8, the fiscal year end month parameter to 8, now you can see here, still it will bring the data from 2020 to Q4 2030. So this is how the calendar auto works. Usually when you don't have any and when you don't know the dates availability and you'd like to fetch the list of the dates from your model, the calendar auto will help you. It generates the dates dynamically. Now moving on, next one is the date function. So date function is already, it simply fetch the data in date format. So now if I execute here, you can see here, you'll get the entire dates and that time. Since the time didn't mention, so it will by default it will bring the 12 a.m. is default time. The syntax for the date is always takes the year and month and day as a parameter. There will be three parameters. So the three parameters are year, month, and day. Now you can pass the different format of the dates, so it will easily understand. So the first place we are passing the 2024 month is January and 19. So it's understand. Okay, so it will take three parameters and fetched it. Even for the month place, I passed 01. Still, it converted. It brings the data properly. And also, the beauty of this date function is. I mean, usually January will have only 31 days, right? So whatever the values that I mentioned, the exceeded values, right? Instead of 31, I mentioned 35. That means I given to the four extra days, right? Now what will happen? The whatever the extra days, it will be roll up to the next month. That's the reason you can see third result showing the 4th February 2024. And also the days you can also pass in the negative format so that it does the subtraction. Now you can see here for January. Right. So for January, you have the it usually start right first of the January. So what it does, it's excluded the 2 days. It's a minus the 2 days. That means it go back to the 2 days, right? So 31st December, 30th December, it excluded, and it bring the 29th December 2023 as a date. Similarly, so whatever in the here is we exceeded the days, right? Similarly, if you exceeded the number of months, even the date function has the intelligence, right? And here what I did, I just instead of giving the 12 months, I given 15 months. Now 2024 will have a 12 months, right? After completion of 12 months, again the exceeded 3 months will roll up to the 2025. That's the reason you can see here it brings the data 19th March 2025. Similarly, you can go back not only forward direction, you can go back go back months in the backward direction. Here what I did, I given -4, and you can see here um, it takes the reference of the whatever the dates that we have, right? It will refer always the month. Okay, so the month is nothing but 2024 will have a 12 months, right? After out of the 12 months, it subtracted the -4 and it go back to the uh, we're supposed to bring eighth month, so it should be like 2024 eighth month, and that is desired date. But since we use the again negative form of the day, again once it fetches the eighth month, then again it does the subtraction of 2 days. That's the reason you can see the result showing as a July. And the other thing is date. So if at all sorry year, in the year parameter, if you don't pass like proper way, like 20 in the form of like four digits number, instead of that if you pass it like a two-digit number, what it will do, it will take the 1900 is the default date. From there it will get added up your year values. So now here I pass the two-digit number. What it will do, it will sum it up 1900 plus 99 shows as a 1999 January 1st. Similarly, I passed as a 05 is my year. What it does, it takes the reference of 1900 plus sum it up 05 to 1900 and brings the 1904. And again, why it's showing 1904 instead of 195? Because we use the these -4 and -2 days. So that's the reason. Again, it's adjusted the value based on the month and the day parameter, right? So now you can move on. You can use the date function as a filter within your columns. So now I'm trying to fetch the my sales information for 2021 January 1st. So you can see here the 2021 that particular quarter information it fetches. Even you can pass your three parameters in the date function by using the variable. So this is how you can pass it. If I execute this, so then you get the quarter one. Yeah, so since I passed only January 1st, it brings the information for quarter one 2021, whatever the sales information. That's about the date function. Now, moving on, date difference. So date difference, we have the same function available in the SQL. So basically, it will brings the difference between the start and end dates in the desired format, where you can use the interval as a different parameter. So you can bring the seconds, minutes, and hours, and days, week, and number of months, and number of quarters, and number of years. Now get into some examples here. What I'm trying to fetch the difference dates between the I use the function date difference function with the different intervals. Okay, so the first one it brings the years, number of years difference between the start date and end date, and same way the quarter. What is the difference between the number of quarters, and all the results using this date difference function you will fetch in the number format. So it's only just difference based on your uh, interval that you mention. It will fetch us the data. So that's about date difference. Moving on, date value. So basically date value function is just converts a day in sometimes you get the dates formats in the text format, right? All those text formats will be converted to date time formats. Those scenarios we use the date value function. Now here are some examples that I passed. Okay, so you can see here. I mean, it's a very beautiful function. So even if your whatever the string that you get it right, date string, even if it is not in proper format, it has the intelligence to convert proper way. Now you can see here I tried with different formats. Somewhere I have a slash, and somewhere you can see here the date is missing, but still it takes the January 1st, 2020, and similarly I passed. A month number instead of month name, and still it's take the results. And even you can see here I passed the December 2020 03, and still it's converted properly. So this is the beauty of date value function, and it's a very handy whenever you don't have the so some users whenever your application give the text box to enter the date and date values, right? So those scenarios, to convert all those text to the proper date formats, the date value function very helpful. You can also use the date value as your filter, and here you can see it's properly fetching the data for March 21 01 sales information. That's about date value function. So moving on, day is just simply written the day, whatever the uh, string or date value that pass, it will brings the it returns the only the day value, which will be in the number format from 1 to 31. So now you can see here again I pass my date values in different format, but still it fetches the data. You can see the day's information, it fetches properly. That's about day function. Now moving on, yeah, so there are some examples, additional examples I covered here, so where you can pass days. Here you can see from your transaction date, I'm fetching the only day value, which is the day the transaction, the sales transaction happened. And also in here what I did, I just concatenated my day with the other columns. I'm trying to narrate you know some customized comments. So here I pass the sales comment like 7th date sales value is so and so. This is how I concatenated, right? So that's how you can write your use your day function within your DAX along with the other functions, right? Moving on, eDate is it's a very handy function to find out the due dates of the particular given dates. Let's say you have passed the start date, and by adding the number of months, you can easily get the what is your due date. So usually we use this function whenever you want to know like any policy, right? Insurance policy. What is the start date and what is the due date for that particular policy? This eDate function is very handy because the generally the policies will hold only the 12 months, right? So now if I take the policy on the January 1st 2020 and adding the 12 months, I can get the due date of my insurance policy. Now let's get into the some examples how we can use the eDate. So here the eDate will take the parameters, two parameter values. One is the start date, other one is the months. So now you can pass here. What I did here, I given the 2020 August 1st as my start date. I just added up 1 month as my due date. Now it fetches the September 1st as my due date. Similarly, uh, second case, I have a start date given 31st of December, and I just added the 3 months. So my new due date is 31st of March. And even you can not only adding the months, you can also subtract the months, where you will have a scenarios, right? Those scenarios you can subtract the months. In the fourth row I subtracted, so you can see here minus of 1 month, that is nothing but it's a previous month. So July 1st will be my due date. Similarly, you can pass the months, whatever the months parameter, not on integer format, you can pass in the string format. Still the edate function has the intelligence to take it as a convert as an integer, and it will fetch the proper edate, right? So that's about the edate. E-month is works like a edate. The difference here is it takes the two parameters. One is the start date, other one is the months. Now if I given the start date and given the month parameter, it will bring the end date of the specified month. I mean, you can use the month parameter in forward direction and backward direction, but generally it will bring the last day of the specified month in the under the months parameter. Usually we use the same e-month parameter to calculate the due dates for the last day of the month, right? So here are the some examples. You can see here what I do here. So I passed January 19th is my start date, and I given 0 as my interval. Now since I given 0, January 31st will be my end of the month. Similarly, if I add it up one, it will take 29th February is my due date. And similarly, you can subtract the month. So now this time I given -1, and it's 31st of December will be my end of the month. And not only that, you can give the fractions. Now here I just given 1.4 is the fraction value, and this time what it will do, it will go back to the nearest value, rounded off value. So now since I mentioned 1.4 is my fraction value, it's round off the number of months into 1. And if I give this value as a 1.5, it will take the rounding of value to 2. So that's the reason you can see here, since I given 1.4, it's rounded off to 1, and it fetched the February 29th as my end date. And similarly, I can pass the string date format to my e-month. Still it will converts the value properly. So you can pass either date value, or you can pass the string value. Still it will take the and calculate the end of the month for that particular given start date. That's about end of the month. Next one is the month. So month, I know it is specifically tell you, it's just written the month in number format, whatever the date that we pass it. So this is how we use the month. The parameter, the syntax of the month is, it will take only the date parameter, date and time parameter. From the date and time, it will bring the only month information. That's about month. You can use the month parameter along with your other functions, where you can fetch the only month number information. So this is how you can use. I used in the dim time table under the transaction date. From the transaction date, I fetch the month information. So now that's the reason you see only the month value is showing as a new column. That's about month. Now moving on to the other function is networking days. Right, network days function is actually help you to get only the number of working days for the given start and end date. The syntax of the network days is, it takes a start date and end date, and also you can mention the weekends. Right, so usually you will have different types of the weekends, right? So by passing these inbuilt default values, you can exclude the weekend days. Some companies, they take the weekend as Sunday to Monday, and some companies, they take the Saturday and Sunday as the weekend days. Whatever the day weekend parameter that you pass it, those days it will consider as weekends, and it will get excluded from your list of the days. And also you can mention like holidays. Let's say you have specific days as your holidays, you can also exclude them from your uh, list of days. Let's say I have a one particular date, right? So January 1st to January 10th, right? Within January 1st is my holiday. So since my January 1st is my holiday, I will mention the January 1st will be my holiday. And then within those 10 days, if you have a Saturday, Sunday as your, public holiday, you can mention weekend parameter as a 1. So now what will happen? Those 3 days, whatever the January 1st and the weekend that you mentioned, Saturday, Sunday will be excluded, and your remaining work days will be 7 days, and you will fetch the only 7 days as your working days. But some reasons I'm not able to produce the examples using the network days. It's getting the error stating that network days is not inbuilt function. I think there are some limitations. I need to explore that why the network days is not working, or it's specific to the Power BI. I need to check. Right. So that's about network days function. Moving on. So the next one is the today function. Today function, that is only just current date of the system. Okay, so it works like a get date in SQL, right? Same way, today function will bring only the date value, current date value of whatever the system that is having. Okay, so I can see some example here. In this scenario, first we have the today, right? So it brings the for data in this format, 21st and January 2024 is my today's date. And again, if you want to format that today's date, you can use the format function to format on your desired format, whichever format you want it, you can convert them. And also using the today's date, you can also bring the year, what is the year from the today's date, and then you can also sum it up, or you can extract or do the addition of the number of years. All right, so then it will bring the that particular information. So now here what I did here, I'm taken and then subtracted 2024 minus 2022, which is nothing but 2 years is the difference. And similarly, I can add the number of months from today's date, add it plus 5. That is nothing but January plus 5, which is the 6 months get added. And similarly, days also you can do subtract or addition. Whatever the days you have from the day from the today's date, you can take which is 21st. Today is the 21st, and then you can sum it up 5 days. It will bring the 26 days as a your total days. That's about today's function. Now moving on, you have the UTC. So it returns to your date and time in the UTC format. So UTC is nothing but universal time coordinate. So generally the UTC date or time that you mention, it will not have any impact on the daylight saving. So usually we adjust the our side 1 hour forward, 1 hour backward in April and October, right, for the each year, where it will impact the daylight saving. So whenever you mention the UTC format, you will not have the daylight saving impact on the UTC day. So that's how the UTC today works. Now let me execute some example here. So here I have the UTC today, today date and UTC today both are same because I mean, I think now the what is the UTC current time. So it will be right now it's 6 o'clock in my time, and if I search for the UTC time now, UTC time is 12:26, which is second 21st January. So very good. So that's the reason you don't see any difference. If at all, any deviation, then it will show the respective UTC time. Okay. Usually, if you want to fetch the difference between the uh, how many hours is difference, generally instead of UTC today, we can use the UTC now. There is another function we have it like UTC now. I'll tell you that. But UTC today and today usually don't have any difference unless you have any hours gap between the dates. So that's about UTC today. Weekday. So weekday is nothing but it returns the number of it's a number. I mean, returns the integer value 1 to 7. Identify the day of particular uh, week of the date. Okay, so by default you will have a ranges from 1 to 7. So usually our weekday, weekdays start from the Sunday for some places, and some places weekday starts on the Monday. The default date for the weekday, consider that it starts on the first of Sunday and it's end on the 7th of Saturday. Now if I execute this particular example, now here I pass the January 1st is my sorry January 19th is my value, that is the date I mentioned, and the weekday is whether it's a weekday or not, you can get it. So it's a sixth day of the weekday. That's how it mentioned. So where my week starts on Sunday, ends on Saturday. Um, so January 19th is the sixth day of the weekday, which is the Friday. Similarly, if I sum it up, 19 to plus 1, which is the 20th. 20th is the seventh day of the weekday, which is the Saturday. And similarly, you can subtract the date that you given minus 3, which is 19 minus 3, which is 16. So 16th is the my third weekday of that particular Sunday to Saturday. So basically, it will tell you, consider that if the week starts on the Sunday is your first day and Saturday is the seventh day, whatever the date that you passed between those Sunday to Saturday, it will tell you that okay, what is the weekday for that given date. That's about weekday. Next one is the week number. So week number is actually it takes the date and the return type, two parameters. One is the date and the return type. Return type you can mention. There are some values that you can mention. The week that you want to, whether the particular consider that your business is week is starts on Sunday or Monday or Saturday. Based on that, it calculates the week number. So and then it will return the date is belongs to the which week number. Consider that I have some example here. Let me execute this example. And here the first one I didn't mention any return type because the default week starts is on Sunday, and based on that January 19th is the fall into the third week. And similarly, if I sum it up 2 days and take that, consider that weeks begin on Monday and past the 19th January is fallen again the third week of the January. And then again you consider the week begins on Saturday, and if I pass 21st January is fallen under the fourth week number. So you can mention where the weeks begin, so by using this value. So if you pass it the return type is 1, that will take it as Sunday as a default week start, I mean the begin date. And if you pass it 2, it will consider as a Monday as your begin date, 11 also Monday, and 12 is Tuesday, where it state that okay, your week starts on the Tuesday, 13 is Wednesday, 14 is Thursday. These are the parameters that you can define. Consider that telling to system that your week starts on so and so date, and based on that, whatever the date that you pass it, it will bring the week that particular date is fall into the which week number. So the other moving on, so the next one is the year function. It's just simply returns the 4 digits year value from the given date. Either it can be string value or it can be date value. So whatever the date format you pass it, it will bring the year information from the given value. That's about the year. There is nothing much talk about the year. Moving on, year fraction function. So this is the one of the interesting fraction, function value. I'm not sure where exactly we'll be using this year fraction function in the real-time scenario, but based on the existed example, the syntaxes, I just capture these examples. So basically, it will return the fraction value, whatever the days, the start date and end date that we pass it. Based on those number of days, it will take it total days for that year and do some division and fetch the fraction values. So basically the syntax for the year fraction is it takes the three parameters. One is the start date, end date, and basis. For the basis, you will have a different parameters. If you pass it 0, it will take the default value. Consider that each month you are having the 30 days and a division of 360 days. Okay, again, it refer only the start date and end date. Within the start date and end date, consider that each month is having 30 days, and it will do the division and bring the fraction. And if you pass it 1, it will take actual days per month. So it will, whatever the start date and end date you pass it, right, between those days, it will take number of days. First, it will take the number of months. From the number of months, it will take the number of days and division of the actual days for that year. It can be like leaf year or it can be 360 days. Based on that, it will do the subtraction. Similarly, we have other two parameters, 2, 3, 4. So 2 is actually take the actual days per month and division of 360 days. And the third, if you pass it basis 3, it will take the actual days per month divided by 365. And for European, so it will be passing the 4. So it does the 30 days divided by 360. 30 days is nothing but consider that each month is having the 30 days division of 60. Now you can see here, I just give an example, and now you can see here the fraction values are changing based on the biases, based on the basis. Okay, some cases we get 0.96, some cases we get 0.95 because of all the actual days per year, right? So this is how you calculate the year fraction. That's about date functions. Now we'll jump into the time functions. So the first function in the time function is hour. So basically hour will just return the whatever the hour in that particular date and time format. So that's about hour. Here we have examples, right? So now if I execute this particular example, you can see here in the first hour function, I just passed only the date value. So that means it takes the hour as the default value, which is the 12 a.m. 12 a.m. is nothing but 0. It represents in the 24 hours format. So that's the reason you see the 0 value. Now it comes to the second value. I passed 3:15 p.m. And 3:15 is if you convert to 24 hours format, which is the 15. And again, third value is again 15. And here fourth and fifth value, I pass it as AM and PM. You can see wherever I pass the AM, it shows the 0, and I pass the PM, it shows in the 12. I mean, basically the hour function will return the values in 24 hours format. Now if I use the hour function along with our other functions, it shows values. So you can see here, since all the dates are in 12 a.m. format, it's showing the 0 value. That's about our function. Now moving on to minute. Minute also returns the number of minutes, which is in 0 to 59, right? The minutes are just only 60 minutes, right? It shows the 0 to 59. So when it brings the 0 to 59, the value, the syntax of the minute function is it takes only the minute of one parameter is date time. So from the time, it will bring the whatever the minute value that we pass, it is the second parameter. Here you can see here 3:15. 15 is the minute, that's the reason it bots to 15. But 3 p.m., since I didn't mention any minutes, it shows as a 0. Next one is the minute is 0, and then last one is the 30, which is the 30 minutes. That's how the minute works. And now even if I use my minute along with the other functions like select columns, you can see it shows the 0 again, because our transaction date don't have any time format, showing the default time, which is at 12 a.m. That's the reason you see the minute as a 0. That's about minute. Now moving on, seconds. Seconds is just will bring the seconds value again, the integer format between the 0 to 59. It takes the syntax of second and your time. Now if I execute this particular statement, it brings the seconds from the given whatever the date. So here 03 is the my seconds. That's the reason when I trying to use the date with along with second function, it got the 3 is the written value. That's about second function. Now moving on, now function is kind of get date in SQL, but now function will bring the time also along with the date. It will brings the time also. Now if I execute here this statement, you can see here this is the now current date, and adding the plus 3, which is the summing up the number of days, 3 days to the current date. That's the reason it fetched the 24th as current date, and again subtracting the now with minus 3, it's subtracted the 3 days and it fetches the data. Now here I can use the now function along with my other columns. You can see here it brings a current time along with the time dimension, right? So that's about now function. Moving on, the time. So next one is the time function. So basically time function, it it returns the whatever the time format that you mentioned in the date, which returns hours, minutes, and seconds. The default syntax for the time function is it takes the hour, minute, and second. So usually the hour, it will take it in 02326767. That is the representation in the hour. So any value that you mention greater than 23, it will be divided, that value will be divided by 24, and then the remainder value will be treated the hour value. So that's the fraction value will be converted to the hour value. For example, we can see here, I passed 27 is my hour. So that means within the within the day you will have a 24 hours, right? So now what will happen? It do the division of 24. It excluded the 24 hours, and the remainder value is 3 hours, right? The 3 hours will be get added to your time, and it will show as a 3 a.m. So whatever the remainder value, it will take it, and that value will be taken to the account and show as the hour. Similarly, minute also does same. Again, it will take the 02326767. That is your value that you can pass it. Again, here also any value is greater than 59 will be converted to the hours and minutes. Based on that, it will bring the it displays the value. Here is the one example. Here I passed you know so but the thing is, here instead of 24, here it will do the division of 1440. That is those are the minutes within the 24 hours. Now it will do the division of that with the 1440 and convert those values. What the division, whatever the remainder value, it will be converted to your hours and minutes, and it will get displayed. Here is some example, right? So which is 2190 is equivalent to the 750, again which is equivalent to the 12:30 p.m. That's how the minutes function works. And the second function, second parameter, also similarly does the same. Whatever is greater than 59 will be converted to hours and minutes and seconds, and it fetches the data, right? So that's how the time function works. You can see some example here, right? So here what happened, it takes the default date, but time is showing the 3 a.m. Now if I pass here 4 5 6 7 8, that is my minute. Now and execute this statement, now it will translate everything. Oh, okay, I cannot execute, I cannot pass it whatever the value that I want. Only I need to pass, this is the any number from 0 to this value. Now I can pass 65. Now it will do the division of with the 1440 and bring the convert it to hours and minutes and bring the value. This is the right time of the 9:95 p.m. is the right time value that I pass it here. That's how the time function works. Next one is the time value. It's only just convert the whatever the time that you get it in text format will be converted to time. Now here you can see some examples. I passed here with different format, and all the places it's take the time. So 2045 is actually 8:45 p.m. So I passed in the 24 hours format, so then it's converted to the AM and PM format. So that's how time value function works. Now moving on, UTC now. So UTC now will tell you the what is the current time of the UTC. So now if I execute this particular example, you can see here it brings the now is 6:15, and if you take it UTC time, it's at 12:45. Okay, let's see what is the UTC time now. If I execute here, see 12:45 is my UTC time. Usually you can, what you can do, you can calculate what is the difference between the time and UTC time. Let's say I can define one measure and variable equals to uh, div say u now minus UTC now. Right. So now if I take this evaluate, I'm trying to print my difference value. Now you will get the. So actually, 5.5 hours is the difference between the current time and UTC time. So you can use these 5.5 hours. I mean, generally this thing will be used to trigger any jobs or trigger any refreshes. Usually we can use it. So now I'm in India. It's 7 a.m. right? So if I want to trigger any job, which is in Indian Standard Time is 7 a.m. right? And then if your system is in UTC format, what it will do, it will translate the your time, whatever the time that you mentioned, IST time in UTC time, it go back to the 5.5 hours, and then trigger the job in the UTC time format. So that's how the UTC now works. Right. Not only that, so sometimes the users will log into your application in different places, right? Then that scenario, you can calculate their local time and convert their local time to the UTC format. That's about UTC now. So that's about 24 date and time functions. That's all about this video. I'll see you in the next video with time intelligence function. Until that, thank you.